I was living in Atlanta in 2017 when Super Bowl 51 was played, and I remember watching the game. And at the end of the third quarter, the Falcons had I think it was a 28-9 lead, and pretty much everybody knew the game was over. And then Brady and the Patriots come back and they score, I think, 19 points in the fourth quarter, and then go on to win in overtime. And I thought that was I'm never going to see another meltdown like that, an implosion like that in my life. And it turns out I was wrong, because that's exactly what we're seeing right now with the GOP. The party started 2025 with pretty much everything going for them. They just won the election. They had taken back the House, or taken back the Senate. They kept the House, and they had the world's richest man who funded basically getting them all back into office. And not the least of which things he did was buy Twitter and bring back some semblance of free speech. And so the GOP, they start the year when they've got all the wind at their back, and then they spend the first 2 months watching DOGE show different elements of fraud, waste, and abuse, trillions of dollars in the Treasury Department, USAID, the Pentagon. And so, they're watching this, and they're seeing, everything is going their way. And you're like, man, as a voter who watched the 2020 election get stolen in real time. And then, we had 4 years of dementia patient in the White House. We're thinking, okay, this is finally, things are going to be moving the way they should, and we're going to see some real change here. And after all of that with DOGE, we're like, it's got to come now. And so what happens? Not so much. Apparently, Mike Johnson and John Thune, they presented us with the big beautiful bill, and it turns out that it's basically more of the same. There's a little tiny bit of cutting. There's some cutting of taxes, but there's no spending cuts, and the deficit is just out of control. And so we're looking at this, and we're saying, how is that even remotely possible? But it turns out that the most of the people in the GOP, they're grifters. And the two guys, Thomas Massie and Rand Paul, who are saying, hey, let's not do this. They're the ones who are getting torched, and sadly, even by the president, who I think is badly advised on that score. And you look at it and you're saying, how is this even remotely possible? And so now the GOP is starting to get a lot of heat. And so as a matter of fact, they literally took the guy who basically funded getting them back into power, put the country at their disposal, and then turned around and showed them where all of the waste and abuse was, and they've made an enemy of the guy. And you're like, how the hell is this even possible? But that's what happens when you get grifters who are more interested in Georgetown cocktail parties and Sunday morning TV shows than actually helping the American people. And so you're looking at that and you're saying, this is not going to work. And so now they're trying to say, oh, we're gonna put the president's the $9 billion of DOGE suggestions that came from the White House. Yeah, well, even if they did that, which they won't, that $9 billion, gee, it sounds like a lot. I mean, I certainly use it myself, but the fact of the matter is, it's less than 1/4% of the expected deficit. So at least with the Democrats, they hate America, and they're going to do everything they can to make things worse. But the Republicans, they pretend they're patriots. They wrap themselves in the flag to get elected, and then as soon as they're in office, they turn around and they shiv the country. So I got to say, if this doesn't change, if the Republicans don't figure out how to fix this, the 2026 election is going to be a bloodbath, and it'll be well deserved.